It was Alex, the original guy that owned the Bugatti in the first place and crashed it. After he got paid out from insurance and it got taken to auction, he then bought the car back.
The story of car brands going against YouTubers may sound surprising at first, but when you look closely, it starts to make sense. Today, YouTubers are not just entertainers. They are powerful voices with millions of viewers watching every move they make. One of the biggest examples of this is Mat Armstrong, who decided to take on a challenge that most people would never even think about. He bought a wrecked Bugatti Chiron per Sport, a car so rare that only a small number exist in the world. The car had already been declared a total loss by the company, meaning it was considered beyond repair. But instead of giving up, Mat chose to rebuild it step by step and share the entire process on YouTube. Millions of people started watching his journey, amazed by the difficulty of the task and his determination to succeed. However, things quickly became complicated when Bugatti itself stepped in. The company did not support the rebuild and even locked the car's VIN, making it impossible to buy official parts. This meant that no authorized dealer would help with repairs. Suddenly, this was no longer just a simple rebuild project. It turned into a bigger fight about who really owns a car after it is sold. Is it the person who paid for it or the company that built it? This question is now at the center of a growing conflict between car brands and content creators, and it is only the beginning of a much larger issue that could affect car owners all over the world. To fully understand this situation, you need to know how this car ended up in such a condition. The Bugatti was originally owned by a young content creator who crashed it only a short time after buying it. After the accident, the insurance company paid out the claim, and most people would have walked away at that point. But instead, the owner made a bold decision to buy the damaged car back at auction for a huge amount of money. This alone shows how valuable and rare the car was. When experts from Bugatti inspected it, they decided it was not worth fixing and labeled it as a total loss. The cost of repairs was extremely high, and the company believed the only safe option was to leave it as it was or send it back to the factory in France. That is where Mat Armstrong entered the story. Known for fixing damaged supercars, he was invited to take a look at the car and see if anything could be done. When he saw the damage, he knew it would be one of the hardest projects he had ever faced. The front of the car was destroyed, important parts were missing, and the structure itself was badly damaged. But what made things even harder was not just the physical damage. It was the fact that Bugatti had already decided that this car should not be repaired outside their control. This decision created a major obstacle, turning a difficult rebuild into something almost impossible. As Mat and his team started working on the car, they quickly realized how serious the situation was. The locked VIN meant they could not buy even the smallest part from official sources. This forced them to think in completely different ways. Instead of ordering new parts, they had to repair broken ones, create custom replacements, and find creative solutions to problems that had never been solved before. At one point, they even split the car's chassis, something that the company had said could only be done in special facilities. This moment shocked many people, including experts who believed such work was impossible outside the factory. While all this was happening, Bugatti CEO Mat Armstrong spoke publicly about the situation. He explained that the company's main concern was safety, which is understandable given the extreme performance of such cars. However, many viewers saw it differently. To them, it looked like the company was trying to stop the rebuild without taking legal action. Instead of going to court, they made the process so difficult that it might fail on its own. This approach raised even more questions about control and ownership. If a company can block access to parts and systems, does the buyer truly own the car? Or are they just borrowing it under certain conditions? This situation is not limited to one YouTuber or one brand. Another major example involves Cody Detweiler, a creator known for extreme and sometimes controversial videos. In his case, the issue went far beyond car repairs and entered the world of law enforcement. Cody was arrested and charged with tax-related crimes connected to a high-end car he had purchased. The car had been registered through a system that some people use to reduce or avoid taxes, which is legal in certain situations but can become illegal depending on how it is used. The surprising part was not just the charge itself but how it was handled. Officers arrived without warning and placed him under arrest, turning the situation into a public event. Cody later shared the entire experience online, giving millions of viewers a close look at what happened. He argued that he had done nothing wrong and suggested that his case was being used as an example to send a message to others. Whether that is true or not, the situation highlights how creators are now under much closer attention than before. When your entire life is recorded and shared online, it becomes much easier for authorities to examine every detail. This creates a new kind of risk for YouTubers, where content creation can sometimes lead to legal trouble. Another interesting case involves James Condon, who built his channel by buying and selling rare supercars. His style of quickly flipping cars for profit and content attracted a large audience, but it also caught the attention of major brands. Companies like Ferrari and Lamborghini carefully control who gets access to their most exclusive models. These cars are not just sold to anyone with money. Buyers are often chosen based on their history with the brand and their willingness to follow certain rules. When someone buys a car and quickly resells it, it can disrupt the market and affect the brand's image. As a result, creators like James have reportedly been quietly removed from future opportunities to buy these cars. There is no official announcement, no public statement, just a silent decision that changes everything. This type of action is difficult to challenge because it is not clearly documented. At the same time, it shows how much control brands still have, even after a car is sold. It also raises questions about fairness. Should a buyer be free to do whatever they want with their property, or should brands have a say in how their products are used and sold? The conflict becomes even more complex when technology is involved. Modern cars are not just machines anymore. They are advanced systems filled with software that controls how they operate. This creates new challenges, as seen in the case of Freddie Hernandez, who tried to rebuild a heavily damaged McLaren P1. The physical damage was already difficult, but the real problem was the software. Important systems in the car required special tools and access that only the manufacturer could provide. Without this access, certain features could not be restored, no matter how much effort was put into the rebuild. At one point, the idea of removing key parts of the car's technology was seriously considered, which shows how extreme the situation had become. A similar issue has been seen with Tesla, where software updates can change how a car functions even after it has been sold. In some cases, features like fast charging have been disabled for certain vehicles based on their history. This shows a new level of control that did not exist in the past. Owning a car no longer means having full control over it. Instead, the manufacturer can still influence what the car can and cannot do. A different type of conflict can be seen in the case of T.J. Hunt, who faced issues with a major car company while working on a custom project. He was building a modified version of a popular car, inspired by a high-end model. Before the project was even finished, he received a legal warning asking him to stop. The company believed that his design could affect the value of their own product, especially since it made a cheaper car look similar to a much more expensive one. This situation shows that the conflict is not just about repairs or ownership. It is also about business and competition. Car companies spend years developing and marketing their products, and they want to protect their investment. When a creator produces something that could reduce the uniqueness of a premium model, it becomes a serious concern. Even though no final legal decision has been made, the impact was clear. The project was limited and the message was sent. Creators need to be careful about how far they go when working with designs that are closely linked to major brands. When all these stories are put together, a clear pattern starts to appear. Car brands are using different methods to maintain control over their products, even after they are sold. These methods include blocking access to parts, limiting software features, sending legal warnings, and working with authorities when necessary. On the other side, YouTubers are pushing back by finding creative solutions, sharing their experiences, and bringing attention to these issues. This conflict is not just about a few individuals. It is part of a larger movement known as the right to repair, which argues that people should have the freedom to fix and modify their own property. Some progress has been made through laws and public support, but there are still many limitations. In many cases, these laws focus on repair shops rather than individual owners or content creators. This means that the problem is far from solved. As cars continue to become more advanced and connected, the balance of power between manufacturers and owners may shift even further. In the end, the situation raises an important question that does not have a simple answer. When you buy a car, what are you really getting? Is it complete ownership, or is it something closer to a limited right to use a product under certain conditions? The experiences of creators like Mat Armstrong and others show that this question is becoming more important with each passing year. Their stories are not just about cars. They are about control, technology, and the changing relationship between companies and customers. As more people become aware of these issues, the pressure for change will likely grow. Whether that leads to new laws, new business models, or new conflicts remains to be seen. One thing is clear, however. This is not the end of the story. It is only the beginning of a much larger conversation that will shape the future of car ownership and content creation in ways that we are only starting to understand. One of the biggest reasons this conflict between car brands and YouTubers is growing so fast is because the power balance has changed in a way that no one expected. In the past, car companies controlled the story around their products. They decided how cars were presented in advertisements, magazines, and events. But now, creators like Mat Armstrong and others have taken that control into their own hands. They show everything, including the good, the bad, and the problems that companies might prefer to keep hidden. When a car breaks, when a part fails, or when something is overpriced, millions of viewers can see it instantly. This level of transparency is new, and it makes some companies uncomfortable. It is not just about one rebuild or one video. It is about losing control over the narrative. When Matt shows that a car like the Bugatti Chiron Per Sport can be repaired outside the factory, it challenges the idea that only the manufacturer has the knowledge and ability to fix it properly. Even if the company's concerns about safety are real, the public may see it as an attempt to protect their image or profits. This creates tension because both sides believe they are right. The creator wants freedom to work on what they own, while the company wants to protect its reputation and ensure safety standards are followed. Another important factor in this situation is money, and not just small amounts but millions of dollars. High-end cars are not just vehicles, they are investments, status symbols, and sometimes even pieces of art. Companies like Ferrari, Lamborghini, and Bugatti build their entire business around exclusivity. This means they carefully control how many cars are made, who can buy them, and how they are used. When a creator buys one of these cars and uses it for extreme content, it can change how people see the brand. For example, when Cody Detweiler destroyed a Ferrari in one of his videos, it was shocking and entertaining for viewers, but it may not have been something the brand wanted to be associated with. From a business point of view, this kind of content can reduce the luxury image that companies work so hard to build. At the same time, these videos also bring massive attention to the brand, often reaching more people than traditional advertising ever could. This creates a difficult situation where companies benefit from the exposure but dislike the way their products are being used. As a result, they may try to limit access to future cars or take other actions to protect their image. The rise of digital technology has made this conflict even more complicated. In older cars, most repairs could be done with basic tools and mechanical knowledge. But today's vehicles are filled with software that controls everything from the engine to the smallest features. This means that even if someone has the skills to repair the physical parts, they may still need special access to software systems to make the car fully functional. This is exactly what creators like Freddy Hernandez have experienced. When working on rare and advanced cars, they often face problems that cannot be solved with tools alone. Without access to official software, certain systems simply will not work. This gives manufacturers a powerful way to control what happens to their cars after they are sold. It also raises serious questions about fairness. If someone pays a large amount of money for a car, should they not have full access to everything needed to maintain it? On the other hand, companies argue that giving full access could lead to